Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm Ling Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's stories. After months of expensive eggs, consumers might soon see lower prices. But as the inflation and production costs remain high, farmers are now taking the brunt of the cost. Lawmakers are busy at the state capitol introducing all sorts of bills. One recently proposed bill aims to ban hidden consumer fees. Authorities say the explosion that burned down a house in San Francisco last week was caused by the illegal drug lab. The explosion killed one person. U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein announced on Tuesday morning that she will not seek re-election at the end of her term in 2024. This comes as several California Democrats already announced plans to run for her seat. U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein was first elected in 1992, making her the oldest member of Congress at 89 years old. In recent years, she has faced pressure to resign, as reports began claiming last year that her memory is rapidly deteriorating. Feinstein said in a statement, "Even with a divided Congress, we can still pass bills that will improve lives. Each of us was sent here to solve problems. That's what I've done for the last 30 years. And that's what I plan to do for the next 2 years. My thanks to the people of California for allowing me to serve them." Several Democrats, including Representative Katie Porter and Adam Schiff, have already announced or hinted at runs even before her announcement. No Republican candidates have yet to announce plans to run for Feinstein's seat. The saying, "Don't count your chickens before they hatch," couldn't be more true when it comes to current egg prices. Consumers can expect to see lower prices soon, but farmers are now taking the brunt of the cost as inflation production costs remain high.
Frank Hilliker, owner of Hilliker's Ranch Fresh Eggs near San Diego, watched in dismay as the cost of his product continued to climb over the last few months. He told Reuters he and other farmers across the state are still experiencing high production costs due to inflation, which contributes to the rise in prices consumers are paying.
I can tell you what we're experiencing, and I've talked to a lot of farmers up and down the state of California and some in Arizona, is our feed prices are pretty much doubled. Our packaging has gone up 25 to 40%. Fuel's gone up. Labor's gone up. And you know, any of the parts that we buy, any spare parts we need, all that sort of stuff, everything's gone up. So it's been really difficult. But you know, as long as we can have the egg price high enough to help pay for the all that stuff, then we're good.
Hilliker said consumers should begin to see a decline in egg prices and a steady supply at the grocery stores this February.
We're in a lot better position. A lot of the farms that had the avian influenza, where they had to depopulate, have been repopulated, and birds are starting to lay eggs, which was great. We're seeing less and less of a shortage in San Diego. A lot of our foot traffic has slowed down, and that tells me that there's eggs now available more readily at grocery stores.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture said a record outbreak of avian flu was the reason for the high prices.
Sometimes when I go to the store, I'll look at the eggs, and they're way up in price, and sometimes they won't have any, or they'll have the cage-free, which are $8, $9 for a dozen. So, yeah, but it doesn't really affect me. I could go buy without eggs.
I'd go without if I can't afford it. I mean, I'm not going to... $17 for a dozen eggs, that's ridiculous. I am not going to spend money on something that I know for a fact is just gouging, and that's what I feel they're doing.
Last month, a farm group said the Federal Trade Commission should examine high egg prices for signs of price gouging from top egg companies. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the price of eggs was up 138% in December from a year prior to $4.25 a dozen. According to Hilliker, a bird flu outbreak is not only a local issue, but more of a global problem that he hopes can soon be contained.
These epidemics happen. It's a worldwide deal, and you try to isolate it as best as possible. And fortunately, that's why when you get a flock that has it, to help stop the spread, right? We remember that term. Well, with people, we make them wear masks or stay in. With chickens, unfortunately, they get euthanized, and that'll help allegedly stop the spread. So hopefully, going forward, that's not gonna, we're not gonna have to do that. But for all I know, a farm that has 2 million birds could break tomorrow, and all of a sudden we'll be in the next, we'll be right back where we are.
According to the USDA, nearly 58 million chickens and turkeys have been killed by avian flu or to control the spread of the virus since the beginning of 2022, mostly in March and April. The previous outbreak in 2015 killed over 50 million birds.
Attorney General Bonta and several senators introduced SB 478, a bill to prohibit hidden consumer fees in California. Bonta says this is something many people can relate to, and it will force companies to disclose any mandatory fees up front.
California officials are seeking transparency when it comes to hidden fees that consumers face when shopping. On Tuesday, February 14th, State Attorney General Rob Bonta, Senators Bill Dodd and Nancy Skinner, and others introduced Senate Bill 478, which requires businesses to include mandatory fees up front.
The prices advertised should be the price you pay, plain and simple. That's why today I'm excited to announce Senate Bill 478, legislation that will prohibit the practice of hidden mandatory fees, also known as junk fees, or drip pricing.
Bonta said nationally, at least 85% of Americans have encountered unexpected hidden fees over the past 2 years.
Whether renting a car, booking a hotel room, or purchasing concert tickets, we all know how frustrating it is to get to the checkout and find out that something advertised as one price actually costs much, much more.
Bonta's office says hidden fees are spreading and have been bundled up with taxes. But historically, this practice has been more common in specific industries, such as the travel and lodging industry.
By virtue of having to be upfront with them, then our intent, of course, is that will help in either lowering them or eliminating them, because then the businesses, to be competitive, having to show their full hands in what they are doing, will start to find that consumers will be very picky. And so we think that, sunshine is the best disinfectant, and this kind of transparency can help maybe reduce or eliminate such fees.
It's apt that we're introducing our bill on Valentine's Day, because it's time for businesses with junk fees to show some love to California consumers. It's time they end these shady practices. It's time they stop hiding the ball.
Officials say the bill doesn't affect upgrade options or amenities, but only the mandatory fees. They hope California consumers will be protected through transparency and full disclosure of price tags. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
And we have an update on last week's explosion in San Francisco. Authorities say the explosion that burned down a house was caused by a drug factory. It killed a woman and severely injured another.
According to the San Francisco Police Department, the home explosion that caused a 3-alarm fire was caused by a, quote, illegal narcotics manufacturing lab. Police arrested 53-year-old Darren Price of San Francisco on February 10th. Price was booked into San Francisco County Jail and will face felony charges of involuntary manslaughter, manufacturing narcotics, and 2 counts of child endangerment. The explosion occurred just before 9:20 a.m. on February 9th. It killed a woman in the building and badly injured another person. 2 firefighters suffered minor injuries while putting out the fire. Neighbors told ABC7 News that the caretaker for Price's wife was severely burned. She is from Thailand, they told the outlet. KTVU reported that what looked like cylindrical gas tanks and blue barrels were retrieved from the explosion site. These tanks caused a hazardous material scare in Daly City, where they were being transported for further analysis. Authorities heard a hissing sound and had to stop the truck and wait for a hazmat crew to respond. Although fire officials did not reveal what the substance was, Some noted that the large tanks resembled closed-loop extraction systems, which use carbon dioxide and lab-grade butane or propane to extract highly purified cannabis products. Both butane and propane are highly vaporable and highly flammable substances. Authorities say the investigation is ongoing.
We're going to take a short break, but here's a look at what we got for you when we come back. A Southern California restaurant is raising proceeds to help the victims of the Turkey-Syria earthquake. The owner says she was recently in the country and wants to use her business to help. A new report from the U.S. Forest Service says California's trees are dying at faster rates. The findings say it's caused by the state's droughts and fires. And it's a Valentine's Day, and what better way to celebrate than to get married? A number of couples tied the knot during a same-day civil ceremonies event in Southern California. That and more on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, Ling Zhang. The death toll of the earthquake in Turkey and Syria has surpassed tens of thousands, with many more left stranded and homeless. In California, a local Orange County restaurant owner decided to use her famous drink to help. NTD's Jackie Rios has more on what encouraged her to do so.
This week in Alta Baja Market, a popular Mexican-themed restaurant in Santa Ana, California, raised proceeds from their famous Mexican cocktail. The owner says all the money raised will be sent to aid the victims of earthquake-stricken Turkey and Syria. Like others in the community, Delilah Snell felt heartbroken and wanted to do something to help.
Well, I just came back from Turkey a couple of weeks ago. I needed a vacation after running a business for 2 years during the pandemic. And then I spent 1 year with construction on forestry. And after 3 years of a very difficult time, I wanted to take a vacation. And I've been to Turkey 21 years ago, and I loved the country. So my husband bought me a ticket for me to travel alone for 2.5 weeks.
Her recent visit to the country sparked an idea and spurred her into action.
We've done fundraisers using our micheladas, because who doesn't like to drink a michelada? So I knew that we should do something like that immediately. But then through Supervisor Foley's office, Katrina Foley's office, we were connected with Bacal. And I knew that they were doing drop-offs for supplies that were needed. So I immediately thought, we have a big store. We should be a drop-off point.
And the local community came out to support.
They were. More people were buying micheladas, and more people were just thankful that they can do something. And I think we raised about $1,000.
For now, Snell says the item donation is on hold as she's awaiting to hear from the consulate what items are still needed for the people in Turkey and Syria.
We had filled almost an entire shuttle full of items. Our customers have been super happy to contribute, and they've been really thankful to be allowed an opportunity to do something, because a lot of people felt like they couldn't do anything.
But for the people who like to donate and are not sure which charity to go to, a good search is Charity Navigator. It verifies charities and makes sure they are U.S.-based and a 501(c)(3) tax-exempt organization. Jackie Rios, NTD News, Santa Ana, California.
A disbarred Los Angeles attorney has been charged with stealing more than $15 million from his clients. If convicted, he will face up to 20 years in prison.
83-year-old Tom Girardi, a co-founder of the defunct Los Angeles law firm Girardi Keys, was indicted recently by a federal grand jury. He's accused of allegedly embezzling more than $15 million from several of his legal clients. According to federal prosecutors, Girardi is charged with 5 counts of wire fraud, a crime that carries a prison sentence of up to 20 years. Girardi, who is also the estranged husband of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Erica Jane, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease and deemed incompetent in June 2021. He was disbarred in 2022 due to his diagnosis. Also charged in the indictment is the firm's former chief financial officer, 49-year-old Christopher Camone of Encino and Palos Verdes. The indictment alleges that from 2010 to December 2020, Girardi and Camone fraudulently obtained more than $15 million that belonged to the firm's clients. According to U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada, the defendants engaged in a, quote, widespread scheme to steal from their clients and lie to them to cover up the fraud. In doing so, they allegedly preyed on the very people who trusted and relied upon them the most, their clients. On February 1st, Girardi, Camone, and former Girardi Keys partner David Lira were also indicted in a Chicago federal court on fraud charges. They are accused of allegedly misappropriating more than $3 million in settlement funds intended for relatives of the victims that were killed in the 2018 crash of a Lion Air flight in Indonesia. Attempts to reach a representative for Girardi were unsuccessful. Camone's attorney did not immediately return media's request for comment. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
A new report from the U.S. Forest Service says that California's droughts and warm temperatures are to blame for the destruction of its forests. The report says that in 2022, over 36.3 million trees died within the state. In 2022, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, or USDA, Forest Services estimated that over 36.3 million trees died last year across over 2.6 million acres of federal, state, and private land. According to the report, the trees died as a result of, quote, cumulative impacts of extended drought, overstocked forest conditions, insect outbreaks, and disease. It also shows a substantial increase from 2021, when an estimated 9.5 million trees died. The Forest Service says that the Central Sierra Nevada range and the areas further north are seeing the most impact. The highest mortality rates are being seen in red fir, white fir, and Douglas fir trees. In a February 6 news release, the Forest Service says that their top priority is forest health. Jennifer Aberling, regional forester for the Pacific Southwest region, says, quote, the agency's 10-year strategy is to address the wildfire crisis, including removal of dead and dying trees in the places where it poses the most immediate threats to communities. Last year, state lawmakers proposed the California Blueprint, which would provide an additional $1.2 billion to step up forest management. It aims to decrease catastrophic wildfire risks amid the extreme weather that impacts the West. Love is in the air for Southern Californians this Valentine's Day. In the city of Norwalk, officials held same-day marriage licenses and civil ceremonies for couples who wanted to get married on this special day.
This Valentine's Day is a special one for some couples in the city of Norwalk. The city hosted same-day marriage licenses and civil ceremonies for couples looking to tie the knot on the 14th.
Well, it is Valentine's Day. If there's any day of the year that really emphasizes love and bringing people together, it's today. So every year prior to 2020, we would always have same-day civil ceremonies on Valentine's Day. So we're here today. We have a lot of support with our staff, and we're hoping to get as many couples in and married as they arrive.
The couple say the meaning and sentiment behind Valentine's Day is what led them to pick today as a day to get married.
My favorite thing about her, just how she makes me feel very loved and happy. She cares for me all the time, and she's a very loving and caring person.
His smile and his dimples and his character. He has a very strong character, and someone that I feel can take care of me and protect me and love me.
Couples shared what they loved about each other.
What's my favorite about him? Oh, well, his smile, first of all. It's infectious. Secondly, just his drive and, just determination to go after what he wants. Doesn't give up.
I'm overwhelmed with joy. I'm about to cry. I'm trying to hold it in. And it's a wonderful feeling. She makes me stronger. She makes me want to be more determined, get up in the morning, tell me the words I need to hear.
Many said their now wife or husband makes them a stronger and better person.
He has a very creative and inquisitive mind, and he's a very kind person.
I love her so much, and I can't wait to spend the rest of my days with her forever.
The couples all said they are filled with joy, excitement, and nervousness as they begin the next chapter of their lives.
Now let's check in with NTD's Tyler Castillo for today's Sports Roundup.
Welcome everyone, I'm Tyler Castillo and I'm taking you through the California Today Sports Roundup. After illness and injury twice interrupted his season, Andrew Wiggins was able to find his rhythm and put on a dominant display against the Washington Wizards. In their final home game before the All-Star break, the Golden State Warriors defeated the Washington Wizards on Monday night, led by Wiggins' 29 points and 7 rebounds. Teammate Klay Thompson contributed to the score with 27 points, while fellow reserve Dante DiVincenzo added a cool 17 points off the bench. The defending champions played without Stephen Curry for a 4th straight game because of a left leg injury that'll keep him out for some time after the All-Star break. Kristaps Porzingis scored 34 points on 12 of 16 shooting for a Wizards team that had won 5 of its previous 6 road games. Bradley Beal added 33 points and reached an impressive 15,000 career points. Warriors 135, Wizards 126. Damian Lillard had 40 points, including 8 three-pointers to lead the Portland Trail Blazers to a comfortable victory over the Los Angeles Lakers on Monday night. LeBron James, the NBA's all-time leading scorer, missed his 3rd straight game for the Lakers with a sore left ankle. He hasn't played since breaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's scoring record last Tuesday in a loss to Oklahoma City. The Blazers led by as many as 27 and made a season-best 23 three-pointers, including a franchise record 17 in the first half. When Lillard went to the bench for good with 7 minutes left, he got a standing ovation from many in the crowd. Lakers coach Darvin Ham said his team had no answer for Lillard, who has 11 games this season with 40 or more points. Anthony Davis had 19 points and 20 rebounds for the Lakers, who have lost 4 out of their 5 last games. Newly acquired D'Angelo Russell, who the Lakers got as part of the trade that sent Russell Westbrook to Utah, started his 2nd straight game and finished with 16 points. Malik Beasley, who obtained from the Jazz, had 22 points off the bench. Trail Blazers 127, Lakers 115. And thank you for tuning in for the Sports Roundup for today.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm Liang Zhang. Have a wonderful evening and happy Valentine's Day.